This speaker normally speaks about something far more deeper than the human mind, although it may appear as if it's a mind conversing. On frequent occasions it is. But when we open our mouths to speak, or open our eyes to see, open our ears to listen, are not fully in control of what's going to take place. Because we are in the hands of life, but not in other ego minds' lives. We're not in the hands of other people. We're in the hands of nature's life. So for these words to come out accurately are not going to come out accurately with the intent of what the speaker wants to say, because of science, atmosphere, oxygen, wind, devices, satellite dishes, everything. Nature. Our beingness is not to speak. We're not here to speak. We're not here to communicate effectively. The communication should be enough. There should be no need to over-elaborate our communication skills to simply survive, be happy, and live a full life. But this ego mind, wants to know something because it knows that it doesn't know the truth, and it will never know the truth. But it is like that child who stands on one side of the river, and the river is full of rapids. It takes every human being and its mercy and destroys it. But this child wants to get across this river, and there's no means. It can build boats, it can do everything, it's going to end up perished. Ego is like that child. It wants to get to the other side of the river, and it cannot do it, so it will create so many things to overcome and try its hardest to get there. But nature will always destroy it. It's nature's job is to maintain itself, and anything that gets in its way, it has to destroy. Until we accept we are nature, we are part of this nature, even though we are detached like the animals are detached from the earth's core, not like trees and plants, we will never ever remain full, live happy and be content. And we will never live in peace. But we have developed and created and willingly, I'll take on ego, I'll take on the questions, I'll take on the name, I will take on the discovery, I will take on trying to find and establish the things that we don't know about. Yes, count me in. Count me in. The question is the problem. This is really a continuation of the last video about my greatest influence, U.G. Krishnamurti, because to get to the position of bypassing, not ridiculing U.G.'s ways, you have to take on U.G.'s I wouldn't say methods, but what's behind the words. Yuji doesn't explain it like most spiritual seekers. It's kind of parables and utterings and whatever. They're not explained so that the ego mind can develop and get more information and go forward. Yuji's trying to say, no, I want to stop this stupid dream of humanity, this stupid society ways of trying to stop each other from establishing their truth, because we have not got the power ourselves to establish the truth. So I don't want anyone else to establish. So the child at one side of the river, what ego is saying, there are thousands, billions, and they're all looking at each other. And each one is saying, yeah, let's go together. But I want to get there first. I want to be the discoverer. I want to be the one that gets his name in Wikipedia. So I want to be that successful Einstein. I want to be better than you. But we have to do it together. And that's the tier system of society. I want to be rich, but I don't want to have to work for it. I want to get them to work for it. UG mentions the question. He mentions the question, and it's the question that is the problem. Because as soon as you question something, you want an answer. The answer is a question. The answer is the question, not meaning don't try and decipher what the question is. That's the answer. The question is the answer. Okay? There is no answer. There is no answer. So the question leads you to the answer of no answer. I often use the quote a few years ago saying, I 100% know. I 100% know truth. I 100% know it. Not 99.999%. Not 60%. I 100% know the truth. And someone say, well, what's the truth? And I say, well, I 100% know that I don't know. I have no idea. There is no need to discover it. There are no questions alive that can discover what that is. There are a few questions alive that can discover you, your truth, yourself. But what is behind this? What is behind this consciousness? I can discover consciousness within me. Everyone is doing it. Everyone is conscious. I can discover what I am beyond this form, beyond this meat and flesh. I can discover the life that is infinite. But I cannot discover the truth. But I can. Because the truth for this one is 100% true, that I don't know it. So UG's question, what is the purpose of the question then? Because whatever the question is, you're not going to find an answer. Yeah? And it's through the not finding the answer that you say, what an absolute fool. And this is liberation. This is when the veil of mind drops and you see God. Whatever God is for you. God's not the truth. This moment of realization is the door opening to the truth. But the moment it's realized, the door closes again, because you can't go through there with a body. And you can't go through there as a samsara life. So that doesn't mean to say you have to die. This body has to die to get through the door. There are many things to do. Many things to drop. Many things to surrender. Many things to let go of. Before you can be considered to get a peek. And when you get a peek, you're not special. Because you're back saying, I saw through the door. What did you see? I don't know. Well, you're a fool. Don't try and entice me with your information, your spiritual saintliness, because you're no better than what I am. And that's the truth. The truth is there's nothing better than anything else. There's nothing different from anything else. There is only life appearing as differing qualities, differing shapes, differing colours. But life, like everybody, every human body, ends. Doesn't it? I don't know any human being that's still alive 10 centuries ago. We have to die. The body has to die. So what is so special with you in your quantitative, qualitarian life, from this birth of womb to death in coffin? There's nothing to be attained. A peek at the door? Yes, this will confirm and convince you. But you have to find one relevant question in. One relevant question that you can take on board, that is absolutely serious to you. Are you going to waste time with the question, how can I get myself a new car? That's the quality of your in-between life. How can I find happiness? Well, that's getting a bit more closer to what you're really looking for. How can I find God? Nearly there. What? Greater than God? Now you watch Mooji's Higher Than That video. And like U.G. Krishnamurti in his human side and Mooji's real true side, that sage in that video is the whole truth to the door. Truth is beyond that door. You will get a sneak preview of yourself beyond that door, where you dwell and have never not dwelled, looking out at yourself in every aspect, not just this body. Everything is myself. Everything is the self. Every atom and molecule is born from the self, which we call life, which is given life by a moment of liberation through life meeting consciousness, through I and consciousness, penis and vagina, stability and movement. I want to leave you with a very, very open way at looking at questions. I finished off in the last video with this. Someone asks you a question. I don't want to use official people because it looks like you're picking on official people. So someone asks you an open question. What is the time, please? Do you have the time? Whose question is it? It's not your question. You're not looking at this time element. It's the other one's question. Why do you take ownership of this? Why do we take ownership of even other people's questions? Because it's courtesy, it's good manners. Yeah. And you're not going to say, I'm not answering your question if you have a watch on. You're going to say, yeah, the time is that. But we have developed this need to take on ownership of other people's questions that do not involve physical interaction. And then, next question. Oh, thank you for giving me the time. Do you believe in God? I don't have any watch to find the answer. I don't have any physical pictures or sounds to give you an answer. So why do we take on these questions? We have enough with our own questions, no? So what do you say? I have no idea what you're speaking about. Because one, I don't know the answer. And two, I'm not willing to investigate and find the answer. And I'm not willing to negotiate with your questions. You're not being uncourteous. You're just saying it's your question. It's not my question. That's a question I cannot help you with. And we do it every day through a bored mind to each other. You believe in life after death? And the other one is pulled in to this discussion, which takes arms and legs and goes on and on and on and on and on. And the mind is taking all this information in, and it's gathering in the hard drive of the brain and the mind and the body and everything, and it's, well, okay, I know, and then the next time you're speaking, you're reiterating another person's point of view. And we are, returning to UG, we are reiterating the points of views of media, of conspiracy theorists, of politicians, of made-up imagery, made-up stories, and we begin to believe them. The ego mind is the most eager to take on information, and we begin to believe them. We begin to believe we are the image in the telephone app. We begin to believe that we are this body alone. We cannot not be this body. What dwells within this body? That's the question. If you're going to take on ownership of a question that involves nothing that can be established physically, I want to find an oak tree. That can be done. Does an oak tree exist? Yeah. Look up the book. Where is the oak tree? That's the colour of it. That's a picture of it. Although it's only a name, it's just a piece of nature. It's a tree. That's what you're investigating. You go and you touch it and you hug it and you do what you have to do with it. But when you start investigating about things that have not been perceived, heard of, spoken about, touched, then you are getting close to the truth. You're getting further away if you just take on that frivolous way of, I don't know if I believe in God. I heard a story once, blah, 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 blah. Yes. Yeah. You're getting further away from the truth. When the person says to you, do you believe in God? And you say, I don't know, you see. At your question, I really don't know. Thank you. Okay. And then you go home. Right. Okay. I don't want to be embarrassed in that situation before. I'm going to shut myself in my room until I find God. And I'm not coming out. Shutting yourself in your room means you have to shut your mind out of your room. And all minds out of your room, and all memories out of your room, and all information out of your room. You have to become empty as the room. Even if there's furniture in it, you have to imagine that it's not there. It doesn't have a name. It does not exist. There is nothing in your room. You're not even in your room. And you become that empty room. And in that empty room, that question, who am I? What am I? Where am I? What the hell is the point of this? What am I doing? Please, help me. I've given up my mind. I've let it go. It's outside this now no-walled room. I'm in space, I'm in a void, I'm in the abyss. I've given it all up, I've surrendered it. I don't know anything about anything. I've given up my past, my relationships, my attachments, my associations, my beliefs, my hopes for you. Who the hell am I? How long can you wait with that question? That's the final hurdle. Because this guy's going to go, okay, then, I'm with you, but I still don't trust you. I'm going to give you, same as I gave Jesus, my son, 40 days and 40 nights in this empty room. And if you're still here, I will reveal that truth, that door. Are you going to be there? Are you going to reappear? You have to really take these words as true, but not accurate, because I am not counting the days and you're mine. It's your job. It's your question. We can live quite easily without establishing truth, providing we all took on U.G. Krishnamurti's ways and methods and practices. And we could live relatively happy. There would still be wars and peace and murders, but not so frequent. There would be no poverty. But who in their richest castles are going to give up that to be equal? I don't want to go down the ladder. And them at the bottom say, no, I don't. I'm too frightened to go up the ladder. I don't have the information. I don't have the qualities. And them in the middle, they're the ones that really are desperate. That's the desperate ones. Because them at the top have decided they want to stay at the top, and them at the bottom have decided they want to stay at the bottom. Those in the middle, which are 3/4 of this Tony Blair world, they keep going up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And these are the ones that are lost. That's why they only want to pacify their lives with a new car and a new home and a holiday here and there. Them at the bottom, they know nothing we can do. We're going to be here for the rest of our lives at the bottom. And them at the top say, well, nothing we can do because we're not going to do anything. We're happy up at the top. The ones in the middle have the greatest opportunity to investigating not the top or the bottom, but the middle. Buddha. I want to remain in the middle, but not fluctuating up and down, not dependent on whether I get a car or a holiday. I want to ask a question. I want to go into my room. I want to take everything that I've got because I have so much to give. And even if it doesn't work, what's wrong with the bottom? I'll be happy. I'll be content. I won't be able to be that effortful person. Anyway, God bless U.G. Krishnamurti, because although his mannerism, his temperament, he was a totally enlightened being that decided not to be caught in a trap of spirituality, not to be caught in a trap of religion, not to be caught in any trap again. But this is a colossal trap. The ego mind is the river that the child cannot cross. It can fluctuate in high movements. It can slow itself down to give you hope. I can get across now. Quickly get the boat. And halfway, the mind of seeking, the mind of wanting, the mind of informing myself of what I want to find out, because for the world, not for me. No, never for me. Never for me. Yeah. And you're sitting with God in the day of judgment after you're thinking, you did so much. Yes, I did so much. I hope you're grateful. Oh, yes. Is there something that you don't, that you think you were left out of? Well, they didn't mention me in Wikipedia. I didn't get an OBE. I didn't get a certificate. And God says, is that what you want to be remembered by? You still want to be remembered down there? And you look into God's eyes and he says, isn't that about this? Homecoming? God. To hell with that world. To hell with that society. That questioning and answering, that discovering, that informative stuff that God took away like that. Just by looking in the eyes of yourself.